Hey everybody, I'm going to bring Leonard on the screen as well. I'm Graham, I'm in Ottawa, and it's great to see everybody here.
How's it going, folks? Leonard Podolak here in Winnipeg,
There
Manitoba.
we go. Decided to switch to the slightly more garish and large headphones. So, another of the Tuesday workshop series. I can't wait for this one. I don't play. I have a banjo here, but it's just a four string, and I know Leonard, you're much better equipped in the banjo department for five string than I am.
Oh, well, you know what? You could actually, you know, uh, do a little trick where you tape down that low string and tune it up and make the four string into the five string, or tune it
You
into
have
an opening
yourself a
tuning.
deal, my friend. Let's do this.
You can make it work.
Yeah, just do this.
All
Nope.
right. Well, I think we're yeah, and then when the workshop starts, we'll be doing the same thing. We'll turn our mutes on and we can play along.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
why
So,
don't? Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say we've got a lot of people here. I'd like to ask anyone who hasn't used the chat before. Perhaps you can. Well, I'm going to trick you into using it. It's at the very bottom of the screen. If you're on an iPhone, iPad, another phone, another tablet, you can just tap the screen, and then the icons will usually appear at the bottom. It'll say chat, and we'd love to know where you're from, where you're dialing in from, whether it's the west of Canada, the east of Canada, the center of Canada, or somewhere else, not Canada at all, perhaps. So yeah, we'd love to know where you're all calling in from, and yeah, very excited for this. So we've got one more workshop next week, and then we're all leading up to the Crankie Festival, right, Leonard?
That's right. I'm going to talk about it in a minute. Oh wow, Cranbrook, BC. That's awesome. Um, However, I just wanted to mention that the way that the show is the workshop is going to go is that we have a whole team behind the scenes here. So if you have a question, um, please address it to Kimberly at Home Roots in the chat, and then we will put you on the screen, and you can ask Cara directly. We'll probably take questions midway through the workshop, and then again for a little while after. We are delighted that you're here. So are we more or less ready to go on with the show? Would you say, Graham?
I'm excited.
All
How about
right.
you, Kara?
I am excited.
All right. We are
Awesome.
excited to have you. Well, I'm just going to kick in here to my little intro. Again, everybody, my name is Leonard Podolak. I'm the executive director of Home Roots Chemin Chez Nous, and also the artistic director of the Winnipeg Cranky Festival, which this workshop is a part of a series that we're leading up to, coming up March the 5th to 7th. But before we go any further, I'd just like to acknowledge that we operate on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and Dakota peoples, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. And we are very proud of that, and we try to include as much Indigenous culture in our programming as we possibly can, because it's a very rich place that we come from. And I would also like to acknowledge the team of people that are putting on this workshop. In working collaboration together, we have Kathy Crawford, who's our operations manager, Kimberly Sinclair, who's our marketing and communications manager, and of course Graham Lindsay of Wavelength Media, who is our technical wizard, running everything behind the scenes, and as well as myself. To a certain extent, and we are very lucky to have funders who include the Government of Canada, the Department of Canadian Heritage, the Manitoba Arts Council, the Canada Council for the Arts, the Province of Manitoba, Factor, and the SOCAN Foundation, and we're very grateful for their support, and of course to the board of directors and the staff of Home Roots Chemin Chez Nous. Just a couple little exciting upcoming events we have uh, leading up to the festival. Um, we have Coco Love Alcorn, who's going to be giving a vocal workshop on the 2nd of March at the same time, 7 o'clock Central. we hope you check that out. The Winnipeg Crankie Festival, which normally takes place in a church and was planning to expand to the West End Cultural Center in Winnipeg. The church is called Crescent Fort Rouge, and they're also our partners, and so is the West End. We were gearing up for an even bigger third annual, but we've been doing it online, and so we're going to be doing 3 days of streaming from March 5th to 7th, and it's going to be a collaborative event. And so we hope you tune in. And then later on in the month, we have Sierra Noble on the 23rd and a really cool show on March 28th. We're introducing this band called the Mavens. And I know that you've heard of Susan Crowe, Lynn Miles, and Sherry Ulrich, and they are forming a band, and this is their first ever show of any kind together. They're not going to be able to play and sing together, but they'll be on the line together and be on the show together. So we're very pleased about that. All right. Well, I've known Cara Luft for a little over 20 years. I was
so young, Leonard.
I know.
So for 25. Oh my God, we're doing so well.
My first memory of you, Cara, was Scrooge McDuck. The band that I was in was gearing up for our show on the main stage of the Winnipeg Folk Festival, and I was standing next to Ruth Moody, and you were doing a tweener, and you were really rocking it super hard, and we're I'm getting my banjo in tune, and everyone's doing it, getting ready, but Ruth and I looked at each other and we sort of nodded. She's good. Yeah, she's good. but no, I think Cara's career speaks volumes. Her contribution to the Canadian scene, both in, I would say, a rich palette of different projects, hard work, perseverance, cool sonic, I don't know how to go about it, but I thought it would be a really cool idea listening to your new record with JD, the Small Glories. I was blown away by how full and rich it sounded with just a duo and not a whole lot of overdubs, or if any at all, and the sound was coming from the guitar and the 5-string banjo, and I just thought this would be a great idea, sort of an interesting idea for a workshop, and I hope you all agree. So without any further ado, everybody, I'm going to close my mouth right now, take a deep breath, and folks, please welcome Cara Luft.
Thank you, Leonard. That was the most fun introduction, I think, that I've had in a long time. It's a real pleasure. I am really honored to be here, and I'm glad that Cranky Fest is happening online. It's better to be doing something online and doing stuff coast to coast like this, which we really wouldn't have an opportunity to do actually if we were all in person together in Winnipeg, because people would have to fly in. I'm looking forward to talking to you about my journey with the banjo, because it is a journey. I thought I would start by talking about why I started playing the banjo. I grew up in Calgary, Alberta. My parents still are professional folk singers, and I grew up in a family full of, that was always had live music happening. My parents were rehearsing. My sister and I were learning how to play instruments at a very young age. My folks also hosted a lot of touring musicians who were coming through to play the folk clubs or various festivals or music series, and they would often be billeted with my family. And my folks started hosting house concerts in our basement in the early 70s. So that exposure to live music was really integral to my upbringing. My dad, he's a clawhammer banjo player, and he's been playing he's turning 80, and he started playing, I think, when he was 20, 21. So I heard the banjo my entire upbringing, and I never thought that I wanted to learn how to play. I loved it, but I was always drawn towards the guitar. And fast forward to my late 20s, early 30s, people started giving me banjos, and I started collecting them, kind of not on purpose. People would just send me away with a banjo. Being on tour with the Jennies, I remember somebody gave me a banjo, and somebody else in Winnipeg gave me a banjo, and I had this kind of assortment of banjos, none of them really functioning very well. but I thought in honor of my dad, it would be really interesting for me to learn. And I think my actual first few lessons were with Mitch. I went over to your house, Leonard, your childhood home there on Walnut, and sat in the living room with your dad, and talked about food and banjos, and it was great. So my first few lessons were with him, and I didn't really pursue it very much until I think I was 30, maybe 36. And I was going through a pretty rough patch in my life and my personal life, and I thought, well, I need to focus on something. And I was also in a period of feeling not very inspired to write new music. And I know that songwriters, musicians, we go through these periods, these valleys of inspiration, and just also just being like, oh, I have nothing to say. I have nothing. No ideas are coming to me. So I called Daniel Kulak up, and I went and had 6 really intense lessons with him, and it was a very interesting experience for me because I was going through such a difficult patch. I would sit in the lessons and I would cry. And he was so gracious with me, and he said, the banjo, Cara, can offer so much healing. And he was right, and I might even cry talking about that. So he would send me off, and I would sit in a park and it was May, and I was house hopping a little bit, and I would practice my drop thumb technique and just getting the pattern correctly for clawhammer, and I would cry, and then I'd work on it and work on it and work on it. And those maybe 6 to 8 lessons really kind of set me on a course of opening up my mind to this whole other sonic idea of how to write a song, because I was always writing songs on guitar. Sometimes I'd write them on piano, but really I was very guitar centric. So to pick up an instrument where my right hand technique I had to concentrate really hard after being a guitar player, mainly a flat pick player, but I was also doing fingerstyle. And the pattern for fingerstyle is, I don't want to say is opposite to clawhammer, but it's pretty different than clawhammer. And so I would literally sit for hours on end, and I would do this pattern over and over, and it was very meditative for me and very healing. And suddenly I found myself writing songs, and it was this kind of moment for me. So that is a little bit of background as to how I started and why I started. And then I just forced myself to take the banjo on tour. And the very first tour that I took it on was in Europe. And they liked the banjo. And I was like, well, I'm really glad you like it. I'm not that good, but I'm glad that you like it. And then it just set me on a course, and it's been really fun kind of becoming known as a banjo player. And I have so much more to learn. And in fact, I'm signing up for lessons again so that I can improve my technique and learn more songs and just not just improve my technique, but also improve my ability to write new kinds of songs as well. Because I think that the more stuff you learn on an instrument, it helps open up different writing ideas. So I thought I would start off here with one of the very first songs that I wrote on the banjo. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how I'm playing it after I sing it. I'm floating, nothing stays the same. Everything's uncertain, no one knows my name. I'm holding on. I'm a maple helicopter, never coming down. Spinning, twirling, flying, I never touch the ground. I'm holding on. Love is like an ocean, never standing still, crashing through my life and breaking down my will. I'm holding on. I'm a rambling, roaming gypsy, I keep moving through, stopping long enough to give my love to you. I'm holding on. Holding on. Holding on. I'm holding on to love. makes me stay? What makes me move? What makes me say I love you? I'm winding with the river, it's taking me away. I'm fighting the currents, I wish that I could stay. I'm holding on, singing in the shadows, hiding from my shame, waiting for the sun and welcoming the rain. I'm holding on, holding on, holding on. I'm holding on to love. Holding on, holding on. I'm holding on to love. Thank you. So that song is in a double C tuning, which I found kind of my go-to tuning when I was first starting, and it's still one of my favorite tunings. And I think because it allows me to play well with others, and because I'm not afraid to use a capo on a banjo, it opened up different keys for me without changing my entire chord structure. So that song really is me playing a bunch of chords, very simple chords, and then using really kind of guitar-esque techniques with my left hand, like hammer-ons and pull-offs, and then finding different chord voices or different voicings for each chord. So that would be my standard C, but this is also a C, and I really love getting rid of thirds. Every once in a while, I could just have to avoid the chords with the thirds, and there's a nice bright third there, and I would much rather have the 1 and the 5 ring out. And so the double C tuning allows me to do that. And it also allows me to often play a song in a minor chord without having to necessarily change my chord shape. So that was what really appealed, or what was very appealing for me when I first, when Daniel first showed me the double C tuning. I was like, oh, this is a great kind of entry place for me, particularly if I'm writing songs and I'm wanting to explore, how to sing and play the banjo at the same time and not be so overly concerned with this intense technique that I hadn't quite. I was a pretty basic banjo player for a while, and so this allowed me that opportunity to really concentrate on both the song and singing and playing without stressing myself out too much. And that song actually ended up winning an international songwriting award, which was really awesome because it was kind of reminded me like, oh yeah, it's about the song. It's not necessarily about fancy playing, or if you're extremely superb or competent on an instrument. I mean, I'm competent, but I'm not a fancy player by any stretch of the imagination. So that's a prime example of not really playing a tune per se. It's really concentrating or focusing on chord forms. And something that I'm going to talk about throughout the rest of this workshop is an expression that has been drilled into me through my producer, which is the term "serve the song." So I'm primarily a songwriter and a singer, and I also feel that I'm an instrumentalist, a guitar player and now banjo player. And when I choose to perform a song, whether it's a song that I've written or a song that I've learned, a cover song, a traditional song, I want to serve that song to the best of my ability. And so that often means I have to look at what instrument of choice, what instrument serves the song the best, what's the key that I'm going to play that song in, what tempo should I play that song in. Not only do you think about the key in terms of what it sounds like on the instrument, but what is the best key for your voice, especially if you're a singer. And this song is actually an interesting example of a song that is actually a really very sad song, and it's played on the banjo. And to my ears, the banjo is this kind of it's this mystical, joyous instrument, and I think a lot of it has to do with that fifth string, this drone string that rings out. It offers something, especially when you're a clawhammer player. It offers something that a lot of other instruments don't have. They don't always have a drone, a continuous string or note that rings out all the time. And I find that just very joyous for some reason. And when I presented this song to my producer, and he said, have you listened to the lyrics of this song? It's actually a really sad, heavy song. I think you need to play it on guitar, and I think you need to put it in a minor chord, and I think you need to slow it down. So it was a very interesting experience to kind of explore the two different voicings, the two different expressions of the song. And I still gravitate towards playing it on the banjo because that's where I wrote it. I don't think I could have written this song on the guitar. But it is interesting, if you are a guitar player, or you play piano or fiddle or mandolin, and you're just learning how to play the banjo, it might be a fun experiment to take a song or a tune that you've written on your primary instrument and translate it into the banjo or on the banjo, because you suddenly will find yourself going, oh, I never thought that it would sound like that. Or it might open up whole new realm of possibilities or ideas for you, even if you are just starting to write a song. And it doesn't have to be banjo, it could be any instrument. If you're writing primarily on one instrument, I recommend switching instruments and just seeing if that helps open things up. When I'm teaching banjo classes, and I'm trying to encourage people that you can play and sing with the banjo, and it's really quite fun. I'll often do like a cover song, and this is the very similar chord form. Don't you forget about me. Don't you forget about me. I said la da 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 la da 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 la da 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 la da 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 la da da da. And in fact, I would incorporate the Guns N' Roses song "Sweet Child of Mine" into my sets, and I'd play it in standard open G tuning on the banjo, and it was hilarious because people would not necessarily think of that song played and sung on the banjo. So I always think that's just kind of, whether it's a song that you've learned, a song that you're working on, a song that you'd like to learn, try it on the banjo or on your secondary instrument, whatever instrument that is not your primary instrument. One of the things that I think is really key is getting comfortable with your playing style, and again, not freaking out if you are not a superb fancy player. Be comfortable. Start where you're at and get comfortable playing where you're at. And the more that you do it, the easier it'll get. For me, it meant, because I'm a live performer, it meant I had to force myself to play the banjo on stage. And that was the way that I ended up improving my playing and getting more and more comfortable. And finally, after a few years of doing that, I remember there was this moment where I put my banjo on and I went, I don't have to think now. And now it's just pick up the guitar, my brain, my hands, everything knows I'm playing guitar, put on the banjo, and I know that I'm playing banjo. So I would just recommend playing more on your banjo and getting comfortable, and take some lessons. Does not hurt. Teaching yourself is awesome. I essentially taught myself guitar. My dad taught me kind of basic stuff, but it wasn't until I went for lessons with a jazz guitar player that I actually learned proper hand technique, scales, theory, a whole bunch of things kind of opened up for me. And the same with the banjo. It really improved my awareness of my instrument and my dedication to my instrument when I took lessons. You don't have to always take a lot of lessons, but I think it's really key. And even group lessons. I know it's hard nowadays with the online world. It's hard to do group lessons, but I found teaching at music camps, I'd often teach a beginner, post-beginner banjo class, and it was just so much fun having other people to play with, because you can learn so much from somebody else's technique or approach. It's really quite a beautiful thing. And you don't have to play clawhammer. I just happen to play clawhammer because I find that part of it was I'm wanting to honor my father. But you can learn the bluegrass 3-finger style. You can do a hybrid. You can play it however you want to play it. The beauty with the clawhammer for me is that I feel I have more control over dynamic. I can keep things quieter, and that drone string just kind of keeps this. It's like a pulse that goes through the song. So I might not even be playing a lot, but I'll continually have this drone string going through, which kind of keeps me grounded, for lack of a better word. I'm looking at my notes. One of the other things that I've been doing is exploring different tunings. I often have these Zoom banjo sessions with a friend of mine in England, and he's teaching me stuff on all different tunings. We've been using a G modal tuning and just a standard C tuning, a standard G tuning, and whether those are your go-to tunings, you don't always have to play in them, but it is good to kind of experiment and learn the different chord forms. I am a big fan of playing chords on the banjo, and primarily because I'm playing in a duo where really the focus of what we're doing is the vocals and the harmonies, and our instruments are integral to creating the sound, but we don't always have to play so busy. We really need to support our vocals, and we need to support and serve the song. So sometimes that means I just need to do something just really simple and basic, and then when the time calls for it, then I'll throw something in. And same with JD when he's doing his instruments too, keeping it so that we are serving each other and our voices and serving the song. So when you're playing your banjo, keep that in mind, that you don't have to be busy all the time. You don't have to be playing a tune all the time, especially if you're singing. Sometimes it sounds really cool when you're singing along with the tune, and sometimes you can sing just to the chords. And in fact, I'll do an example of that for you. Well, this is a song that I usually play capoed up, but I'm gonna keep it down today. So I'm going into a G modal tuning. This is one of my other favorite tunings. Show you guys with this song is that I'm going to sing some of the verses while I'm playing just chords, and I'm going to sing some of the verses while I'm playing the line. My love, you lie in a cold, cold ground, in a grave not 1 week old. To kiss once more your cold, cold lips, to give my weight in gold, gold, give my weight in gold. I can't see clear to leave your side, and nevermore we'll roam. I make my bed upon your grave, a pillow from your stone, stone, pillow from your stone. can't abide their laughter. It cuts me like a blade. I prefer the night I call the rhythm of my spade, spade, the rhythm of my spade. Soon I'll be at your side, apart we'll never be, and I won't hear those above make a fool of me, me, make a fool of me. Thank you. So one of the things that I have to do for guitar and for banjo is I get these fake nails put on, and I find that I have to get them at the right length and the right thickness. If I don't have enough nail, I can't actually get my notes. If I have too much nail, then I can't get other things. And I've been working on my cluck. Leonard, you'd be so proud of me. I'm working on my cluck. But I'm finding that my cluck is so much easier to do when I have less nails. So it's kind of this interesting, this, for me at least, the way that I've been doing it with my fake nails. Anyways, first time going to a salon, everybody. It's very exciting. I haven't been in a salon since, like, I don't know, October. Anyways, that for me is a really fun. I don't normally play it in that key, but it's a really fun song to play because I can experiment with just basic chords. I try to get a cluck with that one, and not so great with these nails right now. But so I'm just kind of doing a very rhythmic play, and then I love singing the harmony line to the melody. I'm playing the melody and I'm singing the harmony, and that's a really fun thing to do with any instrument. But I find it really fun on the banjo, and with that drone ringing out. It's like walking into heaven. It's a glorious, glorious thing. My dad actually wrote about, I got to show you guys this. This is great. It's called The Silent Banjo. What a great name. And it's a meditation book for banjo players. And the very first thing he talks about is the mystical quality of that fifth string. It's a drone string. And anyways, I can't stop talking about the mystical qualities of the drone string. We talked a little bit about serving the song, playing chords, not having to be you don't have to be a fancy player. You don't have to be a busy player. Maybe what I'll do is I'll play one more song, and then we can take some questions if people have some questions. So prepare your questions. I'm gonna play. I'll play another original. This is a song that I wrote with Bella Hardy. She's a great fiddler, singer-songwriter from the Peak District in England, and we were partnered together for a collaboration between Canada and the UK. Excuse me here. And it was very interesting. She really wanted to write with the banjo and the combination of banjo and fiddle without a guitar player, and so it was kind of this neat experience to have those two instruments just hold the entire song. So this is a song called Time Wanders On, and Graham will sing this one for you, and it's in the key of C. If anybody is playing along, the people's key of C. This is an example of a song that I'm playing part. I'm doing kind of the part melody, and then I'm doing a lot of chords in the verses and in the bridge section. See Rockies rise high above the trees. I've seen the northern lights brought me to my knees. Where you are, where you roam, time wanders on, time leads you home. I chase rivers, rush, run down to the sea. Charted seasons in the skies, clouds do as they please. Where you are, where you roam, time wanders on, time leads you home. I've seen the sun scorch the land in flame, harvest fields burn beneath her blaze, heard the wild geese cry as they cross the plain, heard the wind call my name. I've seen 100 towns, cities shining bright, sat among the summer stars, danced through the winter's nights. Where you are, where you roam, time wanders on, time leads you home. All right. I've seen the sun scorch the land in flame, harvest fields burn beneath her blaze, heard the wild geese cry as they cross the plain, heard the wind call my name. I've seen 100 towns, cities shining bright, sat among the summer stars, danced through the winter's nights. Where you are, where you roam, time wanders on, time leads you home. Where you are, where you roam, time wanders on. I'm going to just reiterate that serve the song thing again. I talked about you don't have to be a super fast player. You don't have to be a super technical player in order to enjoy what I call the gift of the banjo. But I will reiterate again, it's okay to take lessons to help you kind of expand your knowledge and allow you to enjoy the instrument even more. And back to that serve the song thing again. This is something that I've learned over many years. I remember my mom drilling into me, Cara, I can't hear the words. You're playing your instrument too loud, or you're played that way too fast. I remember I grew up going to church, and our church had an annual folk night, and I was slotted. I think I was 14 years old, and I got slotted for a 30-minute set. And I was done in 15 minutes because I played every song like 3 times as fast. And I remember my sister and my dad were like, slow it down. They were in the front row. They were telling me to slow it down. And so, kind of connect with the song, allow yourself to just play to the best of your ability. Don't be afraid to grow as a player. And dynamics, it's that serving the song. You don't have to play at this level the entire time, or this level the entire time. It's going back to how do you incorporate dynamics into the song so you're serving it better. And you can it makes it more interesting to play and to sing, and it makes it more interesting if there is anybody else listening to the song as well. So that's kind of been one of the tools in my toolkit, is that even when I was learning how to play the banjo and I didn't know a lot, I had all of that other experience behind me of how to actually craft the performance of a song, and I just incorporated that into how I played the banjo. So even though I was playing mainly chords, I would do the dynamic, and I would follow that a little bit more. And also that big thing that sometimes less is more. Sometimes you want it to be busy, and sometimes it's actually really good to not be super busy, and to to let the song breathe. It also helps you, I think, connect more with perhaps the lyrics of the song and how you're singing the song, and it allows the audience to connect with it better too. I thought I would do one more song here. This is an example of a song that I actually wrote on guitar, and I never thought I would want to play it on banjo. And then when JD and I finished writing it with a friend of ours. I had started it, and then we finished writing it together. And when JD and I were playing it together with the two guitars, it was interesting, but it wasn't super interesting. And I don't know I don't know if it was JD or if I just thought, oh, maybe I'll just try it on banjo and kind of see if we can change it up. And that's the beauty of having, if you're in a group, or if there are people that you play with, if there's a jam, when it's safe, of course, or maybe you're a family and you play music together, or there are people in your bubble that you play music with, you can experiment with the instrument choices. And the beauty of the banjo is it sounds so different than any other. All instruments sound different, but it's really cool to have that banjo guitar conversation that happens, or the banjo fiddle conversation, or the banjo piano conversation, whatever it is that you've got with the group of people that you're playing with. So this is an example of a song that we decided that I should play banjo on it. And when I started doing the solo gigs here and there, and then this past summer I was doing a lot of solo gigs, I was like, well, I got to play this song because it's a great song, but do I play it on guitar? Because that's where I would naturally go, because that's where it was written, how it was written, and I'm not with JD, so do I play it on the banjo? So I've decided I just keep playing it on the banjo. So this is a song called "Oh My Love," and if you're into singing along, it's got a lot of words in the chorus. I don't know if this is a sing-along workshop, but let's just pretend it's a sing along in the safety of your own home workshop. I think singing is one of the most powerful forces in our universe, and singing together is even more powerful. So even though we're not in a room together singing, we are lifting our voices together. And so this is "Oh My Love." I'm gonna do that and do that. Get myself comfortable. But I am in the tune. That blasted G string that is always a little bit sharp and then a little bit flat. So this, again, the way that I'm playing it on banjo, it's pretty chordy, pretty basic, but it seems to work. Darling, can you hear me? I'm calling your name on the mountainside. Your voice is soft and soothing. Haven't felt this way in a long, long time. Oh, my love, my dearest love. Oh, my body's aching. Oh, my soul is wide open, and my heart is breaking. I've been traveling over country, across the oceans and the great divide, longing to have you with me, find a home where we can hide. Oh, my love, my dearest love. Oh, my body's aching. Oh, my soul is wide open, and my heart is breaking. Thank you. I feel for myself that I have so much to learn about the banjo, and I have so many technique things that I really need to learn. And there's different things, like I've been experimenting with heavier strings and with a higher action, and there's all these different things that are kind of sending me down different paths, and figuring out what I'm comfortable with, what I'm not comfortable with, what works best for me in terms of my playing and singing, which might be totally different than what another banjo player does. And so it's kind of good to hear that, hey, it's okay that you have low action on your strings. That if that works for you and your instrument works and it sounds great, then go for it. If it actually works better to have higher, all those kinds of things. And I feel like it's really cool to be able to ask those kinds of questions to your favorite banjo players, and banjo players, we're a nice group of people. So if you send us a message, we usually will reply to you, unless something's wrong with our brains. But
Well, thank you very much, Cara.
thank you, Len, for inviting me. This has really been fun.
I had a really great time, and I believe, looking at the faces of the folks who had their cameras on, that they had a good time. I see a whole bunch of thumbs up, and it really is a massive pleasure to hear you talk about how you approach your art generally, but also how you're integrating the old time clawhammer banjo and making a contemporary sound that is unique and creative and inspiring. And
Thanks, Len.
And thanks so much for being a part of this is the 3rd annual Winnipeg Crankie Festival, or the lead up to it. And the 4th annual is going to be in November. The actual date for the 3rd annual was supposed to be last November. But we're going to keep it on track and keep the festivals rolling. This one's going to be all online. The next one is going to be sort of, hopefully, a hybrid festival, if we can do that in Winnipeg at the time. But if not, we'll do another online event. And please, I would love to encourage all of you to check out the Winnipeg Crankie Festival. Crankies are moving panoramas that are hand cranked, and a story is told, or a song is sung as the crankies being cranked, and it's a moving picture, sort of pre-television, and sort of repopularized by the amazing old time duo Ann and Elizabeth. And
you made an amazing cranky for our song Long Long Moon. I'm just going to do a little plug for that, because that video is phenomenal.
I happen to have it right here.
Show us, Leonard. Oh my God, you gotta show us your cranky.
Okay. Hold on a second. I was thinking, I'm just going to get it going. Could that be an encore, Cara?
I could, yeah, let me play. I can play a little bit of it. This is a song that JD and I wrote, and it's kind of wacky because we'll rotate the harmony and the melody, and there are sections that he sings and sections that I don't sing. So if you guys are open to a unique interpretation of this song, I will play it for you while Leonard does his cranky.
Okay, hold on.
And we actually did a really funky video at the West End. We filmed Leonard with his cranky and Katie and I performing, and our friend edited. It's a really cool video. You can check it out on our Small Glory site. And I think you guys are is the Cranky Fest using it, Len?
Yes, definitely we are.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
All right. This is cool. So
And
who says we can't actually perform together on...
I know, this is so awesome. Oh my God. And I just want to say a big thanks to all of you for coming. I've seen many familiar faces. My dear friend Sherry Ulrich, who I talk with multiple times a week, and of course Michelle down in Seattle, who is also involved with the Mission Folk Fest, and John Prentice, one of our big radio supporters here in Winnipeg, and then so many of you whose names I recognize from just being supporters and fans over the years of me and of the Small Glories. Just really great.
Oh, wow. Good way to go.
And of course, thanks to the Home Roots crew.
Thank you.
Kathy and Kimberly and Graham, who I hang out with every once in a while. And I always text Graham whenever I'm having a technical problem, and he's usually really gracious with me.
Yeah, and on behalf of the whole Home Roots team, we'll sign off right after this.
Okay.
But on behalf of all of us, thank you so much.
What were you going to say, Graham?
Sir, I'd just like to say, just really quickly, we've got a couple of shows coming up. Do you mind if I say these before you guys play? I'm gonna.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. So we have two shows. One is Sierra Noble. She's playing on, I didn't have this up, I think it's the 23rd in the evening. And then we have the Mavens, as Leonard had said, and that's on the 28th. And that's a Sunday. That's in the afternoon. So it's 2 Central, 3 Eastern. And then Sierra Noble is March 23rd at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern. And sorry about the last minute promo, but I'm really looking forward to seeing and hearing you guys.
No apologies necessary, Graham. Len, you ready to rock? To rock and roll together?
Rock and roll.
Roll. Lots of rolling.
Lots of rolling.
And Leonard, I'm going to mute you.
Oh yeah. Here, I'll do it.
Okay. Low in the sky, cold, cold winter, alone I did night. I waited for you to return to me. Long, long moon, low in the sky, I waited for to return to me. Oh, that was so cool.
Thank you so much, Cara.
Thanks, everyone.